in a way, for career types, we have to throw balance out the window. We just do. It's not about balance. It's about contrast.
I got to a point where if I kept doing what I was doing, I would wake up sadder and sadder. So I had no choice. Like, it was do or die.
So very, very happy today. I have the pleasure of sitting down with the great Katie McLean and Carly Greco special.
Wow.
Very excited to have you. You've been a client, I looked it up, since 2021. 21.
Wow.
We've known you a long time. Well, I've known you longer than that. Mm-hmm. But yes. So really excited to have you on, and you did something extremely difficult, I think, and it's a hard one to navigate through, I think, when we're talking about some of the things that you were really able to navigate through. And I've never seen so much progress mentally and physically in that 2-year span. Is that
True.
fair
Very
to say?
accurate.
Yeah. If you can, if you could remember back to that to that time when you started in 21, let's just call that a rough start. Where was your mind at? What were you doing, at that point?
So I actually remember coming in here, this office. You had the desk over there.
Mm-hmm.
Remember sitting and we talked for probably about an hour. And I left and you said, hey, let me know when you're ready. And I remember, I'm pretty sure I left and didn't talk for you for a year.
Yeah, it was an entire year. Yes.
Yeah.
So she left me hanging for an entire year.
Yeah. And then wasn't ready. So wasn't really, figured I could just do it on my own. So, and then I remember coming back and I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it on my own. So came back and signed up. And I think that is when it's been consistent since 2021. So
Yeah. I think it was too, because we did personal training in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a lot of the one-on-one stuff, and it was interesting to see how much you were willing to learn and do new things. It was okay, cool. I want to focus on doing pull-ups, or you want to focus on your getting your deadlift up. Now, with that being said, seeing how that was such a rough start for you when I met you, and it was a year later, I kind of knew that what we were going to be dealing with. I knew, I was okay, this is going to be something. This is like a.
I thought you've been here longer, to be honest with you.
Well, it's like a scare.
Feels like it.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. Well, it's like a scare. I was like a horse whisperer. It was like don't, stay here. Don't go anywhere. And then it was oh, okay. She's out again, guys.
Let her go.
Yeah, let her go. She'll come back. Yeah. Don't approach her. She's gonna kick you in the head.
He's got me on my find my iPhone.
Yeah.
Where
It's
is she?
she's right over there. Yeah, she's
crying in the bushes
she's
again.
a couple
Got
streets
chipped.
over. No, but I think that we're all coming from mass amounts of mental progress, I think, which is physical progress too. But I think with that being said, it's to see where you were at before,
Mm-hmm.
and that very, very much I don't want to speak for you. So it's you were kind of beating yourself up for a very, very long time. Can you kind of talk? Would you be able to talk about that a little bit of where you are? I promise I won't cry or anything. Yeah,
I might.
Yeah.
I'm not
I might cry, but yeah.
Where I am now or where I was there?
Where you were there, I mean, I think that so many men and women are in that situation where they don't hear any encouraging words. They hit no kind to them. They're not kind to themselves. They're not
Right.
kind to each other. And to see that to now, but I think we need to kind of, where were you then?
So I think when I first started too, it was just, I needed to do it. I needed to look good, or wanted to look good. It was hey, I'll put in the eating. I'll weigh my food daily. I'll work out 7 days a week, and I just want to look good. And that was really all that mattered. I remember even picking up weights, and I was consistent, with whatever weight I had, I stuck with that. I never wanted to move up. I never wanted to do anything. I was very just going with the flow. But I think it was just, I remember talking with you on several occasions, just putting myself down and, not seeing the progress, getting on the scale, defeating for the rest of the week, hating myself for it. And then I remember actually one thing you said to me. You said, I've never heard you talk about someone the way you talk about yourself. He said you would never go up to anyone and say the things that you talk about yourself in a mean way. And I remember that always resonated with me because I was like, I would never go up to another female and be like, you're terrible or you're fat or you don't look great. And I was like, and you're right. It's just so much easier to do it to yourself than to someone else. And I would never do that because I would never want to put anyone down like that. So yeah, it started to like resonate. Like, why am I doing it? Why do I want to put myself down? And I think just going through life, I learned that I was all that I had in the end. So it was everything I had to do to make sure I pulled this together for myself. I was going through a dark time personally, professionally. I just came out of COVID where it just went through rough breakup. It was a lot of ups and downs. And then I realized like, hey, at the end of this, like I've had myself through it all. I've gotten through it all. So like, what can I do for this alone? Not depend on anyone else, not do anything. Like, what can I do for myself? And I can't say it clicked right away.
Yeah.
For sure. I think it clicked and then it unclicked and then it clicked and then it unclicked again. And then it finally has stuck, I would say, within the last year is when I started to not focus on how skinny I can be and how thin my stomach can get, but how strong I can get. And it was, hey, like how strong I've been mentally to get myself through it, how strong I've been professionally to get myself to where I need to be. And now it was physically. So it was the stance I needed and, moving through weights and starting low and moving through. And I feel like as soon as I stopped focusing on physique and just worried about the strength was when I saw the most change.
Yeah. And you did a check-in too from last year, correct?
Recently.
Recently.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, you really kind of avoided
the scale,
but you avoided the scale, but for good reason.
For months.
It wasn't giving us any valuable data at that point. It was only hurting you.
Right.
If I can say that, with the confidence that I know you well and would see you, do that. But I watched it hurt every time you stepped on the scale. So what we had done and kind of talked over quite a bit with Carly was you don't have to get on the scale.
Right.
You don't need to do this. Like, let's focus on your strength. Let's focus on your protein, making sure your protein is where it needs to be. Let's focus on your performance.
Right.
More than anything else. And I think that if I can just say that I don't think for some of us, and this is coming from somebody who went through his own battles of body dysmorphia, whether I was 225 pounds, completely jacked and lifting up stuff, or 170 pounds, completely shredded, and I would always, like, somebody would say something and it would change the way that I would look at myself.
Right.
So for me personally, it was never going to be enough. So that's why I focused so much on the strength, the health, the wellness, what I wanted to do. And for you, I don't know if anything would have been good enough. Does that make sense? I think that, so when we said, hey, don't step on the scale, it's not going to give us...
Stop tracking?
Yeah, we stopped all of it.
There was no food tracking.
No.
There was no scales. There was no nothing.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
It was performance in strength. So then this is what I saw with you, and maybe you can talk about kind of like more of like the nightlife, like going out, doing those things. Talk about like how the strength, the performance, you started focusing more on that. And your behavior was changed just because you wanted to do well the next day, correct? When you would train.
Yeah, I mean, and not to say, hey, like even to this day, I don't like to have a good time.
We had wine before this. Yeah, we did have wine before this.
And I had lots of wine last night.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
There was a point where I looked forward, I work long hours, so it was nice to.
Huh?
Yeah.
That was your break.
Yeah.
Right.
Career
And so-
professional.
Yep.
We work with a lot of career professionals. You know this. That's
Yeah.
why I work with you.
And so it was that nice thing instead of my company. We love to have fun. We work hard, so it's a play hard. So I started just coming here after work. So it was my escape. It was my way of, hey, like I knew what I needed to focus on, and it allowed me to just mentally be clearer the next day, and focus a little better. And it's a common saying, we all know it, but feel good or look good, feel good, or feel good, look good.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that way of, hey, like if I felt good, I was going to perform better at work. And yeah, I mean, I used to like to go out every weekend and blow off all trainings and just not be able to show up. But I got to a point where I just really hated waking up not feeling good. Yes, there's still days we still have fun. Like it's not, but the ratio was way off. It was way more fun than activity.
Very true.
And then I started realizing like how much fun I had with activity.
Yes.
So
yes.
It was a little bit of a shift. We were just more focused on, hey, like throughout the week, pick your battles. If you have to do something with work, then do it and enjoy it. And you tell me all the time, I can't get away with it. Like, my job is about socializing. It's about networking. So I have to do it. And I tell her all the time how like, oh, I have to do this, or, I would rather come here because I feel better, but it is what it is. Like I have to build my clientele. I have to work and I have to network and meet great people. So it's control what you can control and move through it. But like when I can be here, I can be here.
Yeah.
And be present.
Yeah.
I feel like even within this past year alone, me personally seeing you're finding a better balance of like mentally you're finding a little bit more clarity. Like, okay, I gotta do this thing, but I'll be back, soon. Right. You're not beating yourself up over it. Where it's like, damn, I really gotta do this networking thing. I gotta do this. Like, give yourself a little bit more grace.
Yeah.
I think it's about the more time. It's like for you, I agree with that. I see that more. I think out of anybody that I've met, any client I've ever trained ever, I've never seen such a shift in a big improvement on that. And I've never seen somebody change so much mentally, and never seen anybody change like within that 3-year span, 2-year span that we're talking here, to see these like, to you, it was like in the moment, you're like, this is slow, this is bullshit, this isn't going the way I want it to go. But then now to see that you really do practice the 80-20 rule that we do. Before, I think it was more like 50-50. Or maybe even 60-40. Okay, I knew she was going to say that.
I feel like, too, though, before you're also coming from like a faster pace of like that.
Crash and burn.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, hey, let's get up there.
Of course, you're going to get more frustrated with, God damn, like, I don't want to really make this shift right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, but I get it, too, because why would you want to? This shit sucks.
Yeah.
Like training and being consistent training is boring. I mean, it's consistent. It's not sexy. It's not like a party. It's like, it's hard. Mm-hmm. Like you're doing the work. It's more like serving at the party. You're like, oh my God, everybody's having fun. I'm over here sweating.
Like serving at the
I do too. Yeah, I like. So, but it's one of those things that it's like, shit. So seeing that before, okay, let's say it's 60-40, then it went to 50-50. Now you're drifting towards the 80-20, which the 80-20 rule means 80% of the time you're on your shit. 80% of the time you're working, you're training, you're making sure you're taking care of your sleep, your rest, your recovery, all that. The 20% is going out and having a bunch of wine, going out networking, having fun, family events, vacations, and that. But what I found with that 80-20, and I've seen it with you, I've never seen you enjoy that more.
Right.
I've never seen an unapologetically loving that vacation, loving the time with friends, loving the time with people than you have now.
Right.
And I think that in a way, for career types, we have to throw balance out the window. We just do. It's not about balance. It's about contrast. So if you are going to work hard, you need to rest hard. You need to do that. It's contrast. It's not balance. Anybody who says balance is just straight up lying to you. It's just bullshit. So seeing you being able to truly enjoy this has changed your body, your mind, your attitude, the way that you're just so approachable. You did something, and I know that you would have done this before, but it was no. You did something that was so kind. I saw you. We had somebody, and she was struggling with the weights, and Carly went over to her and said, "Hey, I'll put those back. You go get these." And then she grabbed the weights and she started doing it. Now, something so small might not have been noticeable to some, but to that person and to me and to you, like maybe not to you, it wasn't a big deal, but it was a really big deal to that person. And afterwards, you really made her day. She was struggling. She needed help, and you helped her. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to help. It was just automatic, like boom. And I love that. And I remember seeing it, and she did tell me. She didn't tell me to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Screw it. So yeah. And it was extremely helpful. So seeing that contrast change, which is great. So we definitely talked about that having a strong body is going to be the most important thing. Now for you, with everything that you've improved on with your strength, what do you find the most valuable, and how has it changed, just your life performance-wise with strength?
So even to go back, I mean, obviously to go back to, I had gotten to a point where in my life, I had no choice other than to move forward. If I kept going back, I would have fallen back into my darkest days again. I felt them fast approaching. Drinking helped me feel that feeling of stepping back very quickly again, constantly that drinking and waking up, and it kills everything.
It does.
Kills the spirit.
Yeah, everything.
And again, like, hey, every now and then when you can enjoy it and you've worked really hard to get to that moment and enjoy that moment, I don't think like, hey, the cheat days, I don't think that's really like necessary, but I think, hey, I've worked really hard, like be it professional, be it in the gym, but so I can enjoy that moment. And still we have all of our relapses and our moments, but I think I got to a point where if I kept doing what I was doing, I would wake up sadder and sadder. So I had no choice. Like it was do or die, legitimately.
Yeah.
In a sense of that. So I had to pick up and go, and I feel like it never benefited me more. But even to say like, hey, like coming here, I remember just telling you recently, and it's like to tell anyone else, I feel sounds so silly, but recently I went to the airport and I had my 50-pound suitcase, and I had my work bag, and I had my carry-on. And, it's 3:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. I go to like walk in, and elevator out of service. And I just look and I see a large staircase.
And you're like, oh, shit.
Haven't even had coffee yet.
yeah. Not enough coffee for this shit.
But it felt good to literally take a second, prop my 50-pound, flipped it over, propped that up.
Here we go.
Held this. And it was uncomfortable, and I'm sure I look silly, but I got to the point where I was like, okay, I got to the top of the stairs and I did it.
Yeah.
And it was just that simple. Or it's little things that I remember, getting off the couch. I always tuck one leg under. So being able to just get off the couch with one leg all the time. Or if it's simple things, but I notice. Or if I'm maneuvering or trying to maneuver something in my house and I have to focus or hold myself a certain way, or help my dad. He helps me with my place all the time. So to help him and carry stuff, or my brother had a generator the other day. He needed help bringing up the stairs. So,
threw the thing over your back.
No, not necessarily.
But I mean, to be helpful to the people you love and yourself is massive.
Right.
And even how small, but remember, somebody who's unhealthy or somebody who can't do those things only wants those things. So it's like people just totally, I don't want to say that they don't understand it, but it's one of those things where when it's gone, they take it for granted. And when it's gone, you miss it.
Right.
Because remember, somebody who doesn't have their health only wants one thing. They want their health.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever broken your leg, your arm, I broke my, I tore my shoulder, and all I wanted was to be able to overhead press or move or just even pick myself up off the ground, and I couldn't do that.
Let's note, he hates arms. So.
And I do hate arms. I'm such a strange man. I'm the only dude, I think, that hates doing arms. I prefer legs.
You want to see Ben cry? Put a solid arm workout.
Yeah,
together.
solid arm workout. I will complain the whole time, and
Where's
nobody.
Connor?
Yeah. Where's Connor? Connor. On the other hand, Connor, has arms the size of my legs.
Yeah.
So that guy loves arms, but that's true. That hurts a little. But it is true. Yeah, that hurts a little. I got to work on my fucking arms. So having that, it's like that's the most important. That's the most important thing you could do is be valuable and helpful to the people you love and yourself. So
even with that too, I remember coming home and I was like, the elevator's got to be fixed. It's been a week.
Yeah.
And I get to the top and it's like,
geez.
elevator's still out of service. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to push myself down the stairs.
You're like, damn it. Was it Bradley?
Yes.
That's why. Yeah, of course it's Bradley. They don't give a shit. Yeah. There's only one escalator. It's such a small airport. It's like, dude, people mainly need this, and they're like, nah, you're fine.
It was a lot too. It was just the whole.
Yeah, it's awful. It is awful. I had my son. I had 2 roller bags and the carry-on, and I went through Detroit Airport from 23A all the way to 68B or some shit, and I'm sitting there and I'm just watching people, scooters, and people, just large people, just not really. And I'm like so low entries. Yeah,
I couldn't get Wally.
Yeah, it's just like Wally a lot of the time. So I'm just powering through, and I get looked at. I was getting looked at like, where, dude, what is this guy, soldier or something?
Yeah, they look at you.
His arms look
Yeah,
small.
yeah, my son's head just bouncing in front of me, just like he's going aggressively.
This is the Kayla. I turned out just fine. My head did the same
he's
thing.
fine. It's just his neck hurts. So but having strength is a benefit. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you could do anything in this situation where it was extremely delicate, where we had to navigate through a lot of that body dysmorphia, which is very real. People who are just easily dismiss it. Men, women, I don't care. It's like people care about their bodies, and people have a very distorted view of their bodies. So if you're looking at it and you're getting on the scale and it's hurting you, and every single time it's like, okay, then just give it a rest for a little bit. Focus on your strength. Focus on your performance. Focus on the way you feel for a little bit. Stop holding yourself hostage to a scale. And that's not always what I would say or what we would say to everybody, because it's not necessarily a good thing. Some people should go by the scale. But in your case, every time, and I mean every time, tears. Not healthy, not a good thing to do. And all we did was focus on your squat, your bench, your deadlift, your overhead press, the way you lunge, the way you'd move. And then as I saw, okay, this is how I know she was getting stronger. So one day she came in and she's like, I feel like I need lifting straps. Do you feel like I think I need them? And I was like, why? And I knew why, but she's like, because I can't hang on to these giant dumbbells that I'm using.
Hey, we can.
And no, you do not. It's just, she's right. She's hanging on to 70-pound dumbbells or 80-pound dumbbells or 90-pound dumbbells, whatever it is. So when you're doing that, I got excited right away. I just knew. I was like, this is going to be the shit. And then here we are. She's like, where's my lifting straps? I need to go get this for my RDLs or deadlifts or whatever. So let's focus on that. And then that's when I knew. I'm like, okay, this is when the shift is going to come. The one thing you said that you did was for your nutrition, you focus more on the protein, correct?
Yep.
And no
Basically,
tracking.
Only on the protein.
Only on the protein. Got it. So we've been big with that the past forever, but we've been really big with that for people who are in a similar situation like yourself. It's like, especially young females too, because I feel like the protein thing is like bros or like more protein. I have protein. But for most females, they think that rule is like excluded to them. And it's like, no, you still need that 0.8 or 1, per gram of body weight. So you just jacking up your protein, you ended up changing your composition massively. And I think, what did we say? I mean, we weren't going for scale goals, but it was 20 pounds, for last year.
That I lost?
Yeah.
Technically, from when I stepped on the scale.
Last to this now.
It was only 13 on
13
the scale,
pounds. Okay.
But the numbers everywhere else were exponential. I was actually looking at, because I took a picture.
Yes.
And I was looking at the pictures the other day, and I forgot what part it was. I think it was the body mass.
Yeah, your lean mass. Your lean mass actually, I think it was just body. It was a lot of body fat that you went down. Well, not now.
Oh.
I don't want to edit, 20 minutes out, but
I
yeah.
have the picture.
Just we'll put it up on the screen. I believe you. Yeah.
Oh, we don't have to put it up on the screen.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the screen for everybody to see.
We don't have to put it up on the screen.
We're gonna put it up on the screen.
But I think it was like 14.
Yeah.
Like 14. Is it pounds? I don't know.
Yeah, 14 pounds of lean mass. You had gone up, and you could tell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just look so 3D. Your legs, arms, your waist got slimmer
I'm
everywhere.
real.
She's a real person. She's a real person. Well, I say 3D because of all the cuts, the amount of cuts that you have. It's
Yokes.
nice. You're getting yoked. You're getting yoked now. She grabbed 70-pound dumbbells, no problem. So, that's going to be the big one. So it's like, just focus on your protein and your strength if you really are having trouble with some of those more traditional ways of measuring, for sure.
I think too, my biggest piece of advice too is, I remember when I used to start, it was chicken and rice and veggies. Like, that's what you did at night. No carbs. Like, it was always
that's what you'd hear.
Yeah,
to do.
it was always engraved in it. So I got to a point too where I started following a lot of people on Instagram, which I know could be a negative, but I started following a lot of people that made like a recreation, a healthier alternative to like a Taco Bell, a McDonald's, like Chick-fil-A, that type of stuff. To
higher protein.
To like jazz things up, to be able to have the Taco Supreme, but use the lean meat. Use not the queso,
the cleaner ingredients too.
And it's so, even things like that.
Lower calorie ingredients,
like
for
I
sure.
remember I used to be devastated and so scared to even get like fried beans and like refried beans in a burrito, and I was like, you look at the ingredients, there's not really anything.
It's not crazy.
No, and even like I like making egg tacos sometimes in the morning.
My favorite. Yeah.
And I use like the taco sauce that you buy in the taco section to Stop and Shop. But I looked at the back and I was like, there's barely any sugar in it.
Yeah.
There's really not that crazy in it. I was like, I've just been so scared it was only hot sauce. It was only sriracha. It was only, no sour cream. It was only salsa. And I started reading the back of things. I'm like, this doesn't have anything that's going to affect what I'm doing.
Yeah. You can enjoy your food.
Right.
I hate to tell you. Like, a lot of these...
When Kayla was cooking for me, I was enjoying my food. But when she stopped, I went back to hating it.
Yeah. So the idea is, like, I remember this, and we don't have to go into it too much, but when you get somebody who's like, eat these things, and there's no variety. Now, here's another thing. It's okay to keep consistent in some of the foods that you have, to have favorites. Like, I'm going to have eggs and cheese are going to be in my diet.
Right.
Like, I'm just going to have those things. Lean ground beef, elk, bison, that type of stuff is going to be in my lean ground stuff, right? So when I see people not eating things out of fear instead of out of just looking at the back of the thing and going, oh, it's not that bad. That's actually pretty cool. And I can have it and it'd be lower calorie and it would sub out my favorite Taco Supreme stuff, because I love those. I love those too. So the idea is, like, you don't have to fear food. But you do have to pay attention to somebody who is telling you, don't eat this because it's absolutely terrible for you and you'll die if you eat it. And if you do, you're going to kill your parents and your kids. And if you do, it's going to be echoing. It is the most annoying and terrible thing I've ever fucking heard. I'm sorry. It's absurd and it needs to stop. But I know it's not gonna, because we're just gonna have people who have their opinions on stuff. Now, do I think there's a lot of things that could change with food? But I don't think scaring the shit out of people is good either.
For sure. Right.
So it's like when you see something and now you can make something better and you are actually enjoying your food, that's the whole point.
Switching to a better lifestyle too, it could be stressful enough.
Right.
So, yeah, that, and now you're like, don't eat that, it'll kill you tomorrow.
Fuck? Okay, I'm just gonna eat the grass in my backyard. Like, I don't want to do that.
Even that, they just fertilize.
No, don't have that.
Don't
they
do
sprayed that. Yeah. And I get it too. And I think that you, like, watching you enjoy your food, and it's like, okay, hey, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have this burger. Like, I'm gonna have a burger. With a bun. Like, enough.
And French fries.
Yes, and French fries. It's like, enjoy it. Give me a break. But it's like, that's the 80-20 that we're talking about. And I think it's so important. 80% of the time, you're on your stuff. But that 20% of the time means you can be a little bit more lax. And you have to know yourself. So if you know your food, you know your training, and I've seen your trainings, I've written your trainings, we know the nutrition, we've seen it, it's been good. Your rest, your recovery, you work extremely hard, and you've reaped the benefits of those in your career, in your trainings, in your life, in your personal life. So, like, that has been huge to see the past 2 years, just you changing so much. If we can kind of end on something that if you had to say something to someone, or even maybe even your past self, what would you say to that person?
I was thinking about this because you had mentioned, obviously fear of the camera. So you just mentioned it to save me.
Yes.
But I remember the only thing I could keep going back to was keep going. Like, it had saved me. I have it tattooed on my arm. It literally saved me. And many, like, even when that last rep I don't want to do, I just look at my arm and just say, keep going, keep going, keep going. Like, I remember putting in so much effort and, like, not loving what I saw in the mirror and just wanting to quit, because why am I putting all this work if I still don't like what I see? But I just kept saying, keep going. Like, it is, if I could tell anyone anything, keep going. Like, it's going to suck. You're going to hate it. You're going to hate moments. You're going to be pissed. You're going to be happy. And then you're going to go back to it all. But keep going. It's just it's like a continual story. So your story doesn't have to end with coming to the gym. It could be, doesn't have to even weightlifting. It could be anything you want, anything that makes you happy. I come here, and a little bit of part of me started coming here consistently because I was afraid of getting yelled at by either one of you.
I'll take that.
But I tried writing off Planet Fitness as a donation because I had paid for it for 2 years and never went. So
yeah, I mean,
I knew if I didn't come to see you guys, I'd be getting a call, or you'd show up at my door.
Yeah.
Like, one way or another.
Yeah. We do have your address on file.
That is true. Uh-huh. Yeah. We will. We'll show up. Yeah. What the hell? Where you been?
Yeah. So, like, one way or another, and if I use it as an excuse or anything, I was scared to hear, like, hey, why didn't you go? Or to see the video you post online of the workout, and I felt FOMO.
Yeah. That's a good FOMO, though.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're not going to get that support at Plant Fitness.
Yeah, that's true.
So if that's what I needed and that's what kept me going, it's what you get.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's what it'll get you.
I think that's extremely valuable. The extremely valuable message is saying, keep going, because you're not always going to want to feel, you're not going to feel that motivated all the time. You're not going to feel that, and if there was a time to get FOMO, if there was, it's going to be a good time if it's like, oh, I should be there on that workout suffering with the rest of them. I used to look at everybody's highlight reel. I remember, like, just their videos and their posts, and I have not felt this way in probably like a year, maybe a year and a half now. Like, really. But I would look at it and I'd be like, man, I should be in Fiji. How did they get to Fiji? I'm like, oh man, But I remember I started to really enjoy and live in the present, like really start to practice it. And I stopped doing things that that weren't going to be the best for me, So sometimes it's like we get FOMO of the shared suffering with all of the people that we've come to care about and work hard with. So you're looking at it and you're like, I should be over there deadlifting 185 pounds. I should be there, And I think that's valuable, and you should keep going with that. And what you've done is so powerful and so amazing to see in real life. And however slow you thought that this was, here you are, and it has been very good, and we are extremely proud of you. And you should be, I hope you have glimpses of being proud of yourself.
I'm getting better.
You're getting better.
I'll
take getting better. Before she would not.
I walk by the mirror and like a little bit more. So.
There you go. That's good.
That's great. That's
It's a win. It's a small win.
So
small things add up.
Yes, that's. Yeah. Get that tattooed on your arm. Yeah,
no,
that'd be
if
good.
I have one more inspirational quote,
yeah,
they're
don't.
checking me in somewhere.
You have too much on your arm. You need to knock that shit off.
She believed she could, so she did.
Live, laugh, love.
That's on my back.
Please, God. Oh, dude, I will. I'm gonna throw. So seriously, thank you so much. It was great today. And if you need any personal training, any semi-private training, any nutritional coaching, anything,
or an hour of therapy,
and
show up for a year,
yes,
but you will eventually.
That was true. She left for a year, a calendar year. Please let us know. Please don't leave for a year. Come back, please. And we really appreciate it. Katie, do you have anything important to say?
I feel like I'm being put on the spot.
I did that on purpose. I wanted to make you feel
no, I
feel
don't
bad.
Like that. I feel like I'm like rushing with blood now.
No, you aren't. You still are
so
quite pale.
trying.
Yeah, we're really trying to get. Katie is so pale that she just.
Come on, man. They already know.
They know. Oh, they know.
I asked if I could sit there. You said no.
No. It would have just illuminated how much tanner she was than you. So on that note, on Pale in Contrast, we are out of here. Thank you. Later.